This is the Business Owners IT Podcast with Anthony Garish and Ryan Carter, where tomorrow's technology meets today's conversations.
Hi, I'm Tony Garish.
And I'm Ryan Carter, and this is the Business Owners IT Podcast.
A podcast where we discuss tips, tricks, and solutions for business owner involving all things tech.
All right, let's dive right into the weekly review, and we're going to come up with MSP challenges.
Yes.
And we have brought on a fantastic person who is doing great at sales. But we're starting to notice a few things about you businesses, and, that... I don't know if you're sweeping it under the rug or you just don't know, but salespeople, they love to close quickly. So there's a lot of this and that maybe we're not figuring out in the beginning. I don't know. Tony, what do you think?
Yeah, so what's happening, right, is that, we have a salesperson that I know for years that we brought on, and he's doing a fantastic job.
He's probably called you.
Yeah, he might have probably called you if you're in the chamber watching this. But the thing that we're finding is, but he's doing a lot of cold outreach, right? And the things we're finding is, we're finding a lot of companies that are still stuck in the, 2019, 2016 type of mentality where they have all these systems and, they have all these systems and computers and things in their office and, they may be in healthcare. They may just be, a contractor or something like that. They have all these things,
They're
right?
They're just ancient.
And now they have problems, and they're looking for MSPs or service providers.
Yeah, it's compounding problems now that maybe the friend can't come in until they're off of work to come fix that small network problem, and they're not going to try their best. They might not even know how to do it. They just know how to power cycle things.
Yeah. And recently, one of them I went to, a couple of them that I went to, they have Active Directory, right? They have Microsoft servers. They have Active Directory servers. It's all set up, right? But none of the computers are connected to it.
Yeah, so Active Directory for you guys is it's an authentication provider. It's how you can authenticate and with a server, and it records it, and you just kind of, it's a safer way of doing things.
Well, not only that, but it's one username and password.
Yeah.
Right? So you have one username and password where you can log into all computers.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's another benefit of it, right? You don't have to keep separate passwords on every single computer. So now you have 15, 20 computers, and every single computer has a different administrator password and a different user password, and that user can't go sit on another computer. So I find it kind of remarkable. And these are good-sized companies. These are companies that are good-sized companies that just aren't using the technology they have. So when it comes down to it, right, here's what happens, right? Okay, so we have a new client, I walk in there, I say, oh man, they have a server, they got 6 servers, they're using Active Directory, hey, this is great. Now I'm going to run a network detective to do a security assessment and a network assessment. So I call Ryan up, I say, hey, I need help with this, I need you guys to run this for me, right? And so what does Ryan do? He dispatches somebody to do all of this stuff. We gather all the information. We bring it into this nice tool, and there's nothing there. And now we're scratching our head. Okay, there's nothing there. What's going on?
What did we do
got to
wrong?
revisit.
Yeah.
Is our tool broken? So you send somebody back out there to this prospective client, and you find out they have this whole network, and none of it's configured right.
Yeah, so we can't scan it because we don't have the passwords to anything.
Right. And we've also again, sales is in a hurry. So I did a couple of these things fast. I said, okay, it looks like they have a server, they have this, they have a DC, everything looks good. I see a few users in there. They got computers. Hey, it's a small network. They got, one server, maybe one virtual server, maybe two hosts on there or something like that. And everything looks good. I'll just give them a quote without knowing.
How bad can it be?
So then I give it to Ryan. What happens, Ryan?
It all falls apart.
It all falls apart, right? He's yelling at me. Did you guys even look at this? I mean, we kind of sit across from each other, so he's yelling at us all the time.
Yeah.
But
I'm usually watering my Wi-Fi playing about that time.
Yeah. What else was there recently? Oh, we had one that said they had M365. Let's talk about that.
Oh, this is the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got Microsoft 365, and I get the signed sales quote, 365, all this great stuff on there. I'm like, oh, this is, again, going to be an easy one, maybe 3-4 person company. I didn't even notice that the guy's email address was like a Yahoo email, so that red flag I didn't think about. And anyway, so we make the call and do our initial kickoff call with him, and he's like, yeah, I can't wait to get on Microsoft. huh?
Yeah.
What are you using for OneDrive? I got something, I guess. I don't know what it is. And I'm like, do you have Microsoft? No. Do you have No. What do you? No, you're gonna have to do that for me. So now I'm like in this call, and you got your little Teams meeting box, and I'm trying to stare at my sales guy like, bro, what you sold them is going to be, what an extra 20 or 30 hours worth of work for my team. Like,
yes.
How do we are we going to charge them? Like, what do you do at this point?
Yes. So sorry, I'm looking at my watch. It looks like my son's gonna have a baby today. So they just said that she's getting an epidural and everything's going well. So that's why I'm looking at my watch. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool, right?
Grandpa Tony.
Grandpa Tony. So yeah, when I had met with this person, he told me that they had Microsoft 365, right? And it's a small company. We can't dive into every one ahead of time. We just kind of put the agreements together and get into it. But, and we're finding this too, actually, at this other company I just talked about. They got Microsoft 365. They're using the home and student.
Yep.
Or they're using the, I
had to turn my camera off and laugh on that part of the call.
Yeah. They're using we got home and student. We got 6 people signed in with the same name. Oh, okay. And what gets really hard is when they have home and student and they have a business and it has the same email address.
Mm-hmm.
How many of those have we had? I mean, that's another thing that happens. Okay. Hey, yeah, I got Office 365. And by the way, it's Tony at, ucs-inc.net. And then you go to log in and you find out, well, they got a home and school and they got a business one. And they got OneDrive set up for both. And it's a mess.
Don't talk right, and it's a mess. It's everywhere.
It's a huge mess.
It's fun to fix. Don't get me wrong, but it's hours of work.
But the goal here really is there's still a lot of companies out there, a lot of single practitioners that are doing stuff like old school and not coming up to standards, right? Running old servers, 2012, 2016, 2019. This recent customer came up. They need to have some strong ciphers. So you want to talk about strong ciphers? Explain what it is, if you can. Ciphers,
Well, yeah. The Cipher suites is what's built into usually the server or the computer when it communicates.
Yeah.
And those suites are usually, it's just the encryption protocol.
Encryption, right? So their vendors are going to a stronger encryption, and they're on a server that can't have that encryption, right? That encryption is not possible. They need to upgrade. And then it becomes an emergency, and they should have been probably doing this all along. And if they're following HIPAA rules, they would be doing it, right? It would have a framework that says, hey, do you have any outdated operating systems? Yes or no? Yes, I do. What is the plan to get them upgraded?
Yep. It just goes, just following those frameworks is a great idea. It's just that some they don't.
Yeah, they don't do it. And I understand doctors that everybody's in their pockets, right? All these rules of HIPAA, they're getting less money from insurance agents, right? They're getting less money, right? They're providing more services. They're being squeezed out by large groups, but they're still responsible. They still have to do this, and do it as the most economical way they can.
And we'll help with the economics of that.
Yes,
we usually do very well, to help the small practitioners. We had a dentist office we did a great job for that. Unfortunately, did not respect us enough, but
we did. Yes, and it's one of those things again, right? They need to. Some of these companies need to do a lot of work. We're basically going to help them get them into a managed service agreement. The fee, is not a huge amount of thing, and they can get these things done and spread it out over time.
Yep, exactly. That's the best way too.
All right, that's all I have.
It's all I really have. I don't have a tip of the week this week, except for just be nice to your MSPs and sales guys. Let's get rid of the flow through, please.
Yes. No flow through on the agreement. Flow through. That's our guys putting flow through on some of these agreements, and it's really supposed to mean whatever it is now you're going to be paying tomorrow, and it turns out they don't have any of this to pay tomorrow. So that's what they're when they.
So here's a big cost for you guys, because Microsoft licensing is a pain in the rear.
Yes, it's a lot of work. You have to know what you're doing. All right, everybody. I just want to thank everybody for tuning in to the Business Owners IT Podcast, and we hope to see you next week.
See you next week.
Unique Computing Solutions. Your IT challenges solved.